There's one more match left for Group C of WCS America. And as we all predicted, it would end up being a rematch. I'm Nathanius, joined by Fear Dragon. And this last time these guys played, it was quite a series. It was a good series, but a very long
series,
one.
But it was too short for us, right?
Well, In Control wasn't here, tragically, to do all of the 45-minute games, but he's easier in spirit.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll give him the FFA next time.
Yeah, as we all know, that's his favorite. But like we said, we've got one more match to bring you the decider. It is Silky versus Vindicta. Vindicta showed a lot of range, not only with his usage of ranged liberators,
yes,
but with his different varieties of builds. Really good biomine, marine tank, and then his mech.
To go for the like the Marauder Hellbat attack and stuff.
Yeah, he tried to do that meme thing,
yeah.
and then but
I mean, like there was the intention to go for it. It seemed like so. Like that also shows.
And I think the first broadcasted match of StarCraft that I've seen where a Terran YOLO'd ghosts to EMP infestors and then teleported BCs onto them. We've seen the aggressive BC usage, but he like postured very carefully and cautiously around that to get it going. And
look,
I'm just going to be like, yo, we're ready.
I mean, Nate, Apollo called mech off of seeing 3 barracks thrown down, but 45 seconds before that happened, you called if the ghost just EMP everything, the battlecruisers will teleport directly on the army and then kill him. Yeah. And then 45 seconds later, the ghost EMP every single infestor, he teleports on and then he wins.
I'm not going to say that when Apollo lived in LA for a year that we went and got coffee every morning and I may have stolen some of his power through osmosis, but I did. And while I'm not handsome or British, I can say that I know how to make calls about Terran strategy.
Don't sell yourself short, man. You could be British if you wanted to.
In the top left, to start our decider match of Group C, we have the red Zerg player. He is Silky.
Age 22. And down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have our blue Terran player. He goes by the name of Vindicta. Do you know how old he is?
No.
I think he's 19. Could be wrong.
He's 212.
I think that's the IQ.
Oh yeah, my bad. I was reading the
wrong stat. It happens.
Wrong stat.
All right, so the last time these guys played, like we said, a lot of long games, but to be honest, again, like, yes, 1 or 2 of the games, I would say, opened up in a way such that it was going to probably lead into, like, macro games, but not every game kind of looked that way. Some of the games, they did at least have a possibility of going and kind of ending a lot earlier on, so.
Well, this was with a map that Vindicta got spanked on versus Silky, so he did not do very well versus the Hydralisks. I think this was that map anyway. But
yeah, I also specifically remember the map that Vindicta turtled up and made a lot of nukes on was King's Cove.
King's Cove.
And I specifically saw Silky
and
saying,
Cyberforce.
I am getting rid of... Oh, sorry, Cyberforce.
Cyberforce was the YOLO.
Cyberforce
was the YOLO nuke map.
Cyberforce,
he did nuke on King's Cove too, though.
Yeah, he did. But Cyberforce is the map I'm thinking of. And Cyberforce was the map Silky was like, never again, get rid of this map.
Vindicta had a lot of really good ideas in most of the games that he played today. And if he decides that he wants to watch these VODs back, I want to give him some good praise because I think he's definitely shown some improvement from the last time that we saw him play in WCS Challenger. But the big thing I want to say is, my man, what is up with all these nukes? He's trying to force it so hard. I'm sitting backstage. I'm sitting next to Awesome Sauce, our observer that looks like Neeb, and he's like 3 Ghost Academies. I'm like, he's starting 3 Ghost Academies. He's at 150 supply. 3 Ghost Academies. He like throws those units go up to the top side. He gets the Widow Mine. He like nukes that one base, and he starts like 3 more nukes. I'm like, he's at 140 supply. He just lost half his Cyclones and Hellions. Starts 3 more nukes. I'm like, and then there's like there's 6 carriers on the map. I'm like,
Vindicta is like that kid that in like elementary school, the teacher asks him, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, I want to be an astronaut. He's the kid that grew up and was like, still, I want to be an astronaut. Yeah. He is the kid that, like, you have all those like Silver League players. It's like, I'm going to nuke someone's entire army or something.
Yeah.
And then they lose hope of it as they grow up. It's like, no, actually, he still believes.
He's the nuke hero, right? That's what he does. He's like, it doesn't matter what state the game is in, I have to go for nukes. That's my thing. That's my brand. He's trying to be on brand. Which in 2019, I mean, that's big mood. But
yeah,
regardless, not necessarily going to guarantee you the win, right? But at least he stuck to his principles. So I got to give him credit for that. He wasn't one of those fake Terrans that just played to win. He stuck to his guns, and well, it's gotten him further than it's gotten me in StarCraft skill. So
I mean, he did have a lot of guns with there, so it's a big gun.
Has he gone for nukes in almost every game he's played today? I think almost.
He went for it versus Neve as
every
well.
single map that wasn't short.
There was a game that
it was an early ending game though.
Yeah.
But like every single game that has gone any distance at all. Even if it didn't reach crazy late game, he's gone for nukes.
If it has been possible, he has done it.
Yes.
If it was reasonable for him to try and go for it. Well, Overlord comes in, scouts out not a whole lot, but sees some more Hellions.
This is a really weird game, by the way.
Wait,
so
there's two factories?
I haven't touched on this. He's doing a blue flame Hellion attack.
I haven't seen this for a while.
This is a build that I'm not going to say that it's necessarily good, but it's meant to catch you off guard in the circumstance that the Zerg player is going to think maybe Hellbats, blah, 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 blah. But Blue Flame doesn't really help with killing drones. However, if you can blindside and get through the Zerglings a little bit faster, that's how you get that utility. But oh my god, seeing those extra Hellions up the ramp may set off some alarm bells.
Nate, is this a common build? Because
no.
I have not seen this since Wings of Liberty.
4GG hasn't played StarCraft 2 since he retired. And he was the only guy that would ever build so many Hellions at the start of the game. There was nobody else. Nobody else was the race car
This
man.
is a variation from back then because he does have a third CC and everything, and I think 4GG did it on one base. But
I guess the thing is 4G would do it every single game, so it wasn't really unique, but he was the guy. And the third factory starts up pretty quickly too. I mean, that third command center was also like dummy early as well. So he's just going to go into mech out of this, but he's got so many Hellions. Like Zerglings are not the answer here. But Queens are also just like solid against Hellions in general too. So it's just kind of like he's hoping to overwhelm his opponent with those.
The Banelings morphing in here are
and the Lings are useless. The Lings are useless. So if you can avoid the Banelings, then it's big possibilities on those drones.
Okay, the Banelings are going to start coming in from the north side once again and forcing these Hellions a lot further back. Only 4 drones going down. Remember, this was a big commitment to try and go for this.
Yeah, so the whole plan here is that the Queens are kind of bullying away the Hellions, and if the Hellions dive past the Queens, the Banelings want to be waiting with open arms to catch them. So it's hard to make it work, especially since that Baneling speed is going to be finishing up, and they're going to be even harder to get around. Not to mention they get that extra 5 health from the Baneling speed upgrade.
Yeah, you know, I was saying that this is a big commitment, but I guess he did get his third base up still pretty quick. Okay, those Banelings ambushing those Hellions as they try and make their way up the ramp. That is the advantage of having creep spread and vision further out than your opponent.
Well, our observer points out that yes, we just evened up everything there.
Okay. Well, in that case, Vindicta is going to try and establish his third base, and he has those Cyclones now being added into the composition, so he's going to have a much easier time versus anything that's not just a pure Zergling army. But the Hydra Den is being added on, 1/1 upgrade starting up there for Silky, and the Overseer comes in and scouts out just about everything this time.
Yep, gets a good view of what's going on in the base, knows that it is going to be that mech strategy once more, and we have 2 armories as well, so interested to see what is able to get done here because he's going for ship weapons. What?
Ship weapons? And then also Silky's already adding on the infestation pit. So it seems like Silky probably wants to start adding in some of those infestors like he did last time. Hellions starting to get some damage done. He's trying to kill one of these Overlords. Not quite able to get the kill though.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? Because the Queens and the Banelings don't take bonus damage from any of this, but they're also not going to kill these units that fast. They can kind of tank a little bit. So it turns into like a slow poke type game, which is better for the Zerg because the Terran's the one that wants to get aggro. But the fact that he's investing into ship weapons this early tells me that there's a much faster transition that's going to be happening in regards to battle cruisers.
Yeah.
Because what else would you get ship up weapons upgrades for? It's always going to be 2 hits to kill Hydras. If you get And the upgrades for the Liberators, they'll two-shot Queens, but you need to have the upgrade advantage, I think, or something is how it works. These Hellions die to the Banelings, so...
And there's the Fusion Core also being added in, whether it be for +1 range or for the really fast battle cruisers you're talking about.
Ship weapons just doesn't really have much of an impact on anything for Terran versus Zerg, because Terran air units are not really... Like, you're not like, oh, I need +1 Viking so that I can land them and kill Lings in 2 hits. Like, no, not
Is that actually a number?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not, because the Viking does 12 damage to non-mechanical.
Does it go up to 14 when you have +1 weapons, or is it 13?
I think it goes... Ah, man.
What is the damage buff for a Viking?
I think it goes up by 1. It goes up by 1. So
I'd believe it.
It's meant to be, what, like 10% or whatever, or something ridiculous.
Sort of different note, though, by the way, is that Silky, comparatively to all the other games, his creep spread is a lot further back this game. Substantially further back. I think that actually was something that was sort of triggered a little bit by the Hellion opening, being so aggressive and just keeping the Queens from being on the front lines spreading creep.
The biggest benefit of that build is not the Blue Flame. It's actually the extra Hellions that the second factory gives, because it lets him kind of push against the Queens more easily. It's kind of why when people were doing builds like that, double reactor factory was a little bit more popular than 2 factory Blue Flame, because the extra Hellions were, you're mostly shooting against Queens, right? When you have that many Hellions, you're not going to have a problem dealing with Zerglings anyway. But Vipers are coming out. We got plenty of Lings on the map. +2 for ranged. And advanced ballistics is almost done, and we're going straight into 2-2 ship weapons. I thought he added a couple extra starports. No, he only added a second one. No BCs.
Okay. Might be a transition point for...
He's thinking about going into BCs probably when his +3/3 is done. Like, that's the only way that this like times out into something cool, because the Liberators are going to one-shot Lings and Banes. They're always going to two-shot Hydralisks. Their damage starts at what, 75, and then goes to 80, then 85.
You're saying numbers, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, basically because Hydras have armor, even though the Liberator can do 90 damage at +3, it will not one-shot the Hydra, because it will survive with like 1 or 2 health.
So you still need the full length of it?
Yeah, you still need a full Hellion to attack it. You still need another volley.
All right, we're starting to see these units, though, for Vindicta starting to get forced further and further back. He's building up that Liberator count, though. He's up to 4 right now, but getting up 3 more at a time. He's shutting down bases. Another kill. That's, I think, like the 2nd or 3rd base that he has been able to kill instead of getting a cancel there from Silky.
Yeah. There's also the possible side thing that if this turns into like a lot of Broodlords for some weird reason before anything like Battlecruisers happens, the Liberators will actually deal damage, since they're going to have a significant upgrade lead and there's no air carapace, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. That's a thing, but it's not... What's funny is +2 Liberators do as much damage as Liberators do by default. Big Hydra Viper attack.
That's every single Cyclone just going down right there. And even the Hellions are getting picked off by some of the reinforcing Hydras, so 4th, or sorry, that's like the 6th base, something like that, does get lifted off and has to retreat on out of there.
For the build that he's gone for, there's not a whole lot to show for it. Hydra Viper is really strong versus Liberator Cyclone Hellion, unless you have so many Liberators and Cyclones and Hellions, you can kind of siege all over them while pushing back with the Hellions. But when you try to harass a lot with this comp, you don't have as much defensively. However, Vindicta did a really good job of taking the bases on the bottom side of the map, so even though that expansion was shoved off, he didn't lose too much. But look at this. The Field of Dreams. So many spine crawlers.
Those are definitely going to be nice, especially with the Spore Crawler there. I mean, this is obviously not at that point in the game where we don't see Vindicta going for it, but
silly.
Nukes were a problem in the past, and this at least buys time versus them.
Yes, yes it does. Well, we thank God do not have that Ghost Academy yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for 3 to pop up so that he can go for nukes at some point, but he's adding a lot on my command centers. The Cyclones are going to get caught. They will all die here.
That's a nice pickoff.
Spire's about to finish. Nidus Network starting. And, okay, this is a good spot to be able to get with that Liberator.
Yeah.
But he starts 3-3 ship weapons immediately. And
there's another starport being added on.
yeah, so he's got to be going into Battlecruisers soon.
Bye-bye, command.
He doesn't have... This strategy has so much wind up to it. Like, you're leaning so far back, your elbow's almost touching the ground while you're winding up for this punch, you know? Like, you really, really, really have to hit hard when it comes.
And he has to be able to survive against these kinds of attacks. And here we end up seeing Vipers pulling forward a couple of the siege tanks. Picks off an SCV or two that was building the missile turrets, although a few of them are still going to be able to finish up over here. Silky really wants to be able
There's
to
the
put
Ghost
forward.
Academy, by the way, and 2 more barracks. So we are going to see him try to nuke. He just can't. I just can't quit you,
Ooh,
nukes.
if he gets that bottom center base on top of the top right-hand base that
He's
he
going
got,
to kill this. Yeah, this
yeah, that's okay. This is actually starting to do some real damage to Vindicta. Vindicta is forced back down to 4 bases, and
And his
remember,
Hellions and Hellbats are actually not that strong.
No.
So if he had been going for mech weapons, his Hellbats would be one-shotting the Lings. Instead, they need 2 volleys. And his Hellions actually need like 4 hits to kill Zerglings because they have no attack upgrades as well. So his ground army is very, very weak in a straight-up fight since he has 0 attack upgrades for them. But I guess with the starport being done now, did he get another tech lab?
well, there's another Ghost Academy.
No,
There's a
he's
second
going
Ghost
to
Academy.
Mass Liberators. Really interesting setup.
I think this is going to be more akin to game number 1 rather than the Battlecruiser game, at least for now.
It's just weird. It just feels weird. You should try to get +1 attack because then it allows the Hellions to at least 2-shot the Zerglings no matter what the upgrades are. And oh my god, it just abducts everything.
Yeah, he gets almost every Cyclone. There's maybe 4 Cyclones left over now.
Liberators are cool, but because they have to siege, it turns into like a where's the meat situation, right? Where's the meat of this army to fight against a bunch of Hydras? Because Cyclones and Hellions aren't going to do it, and the Liberators aren't going to do it unless the Zerg player A moves into like 10 of them sieged up. But he has Vipers, so why would he do that? He has 6 Vipers. His abducts have been on point.
This is another adaptation that I really like that Silky's done in this series as opposed to the last one. It seemed like Vindicta was kind of expanding on both sides. He would expand to like the top and the bottom side at the same time. And only really on one front would Silky be really pushing hard. But I love that he just keeps moving back and forth and making sure that Vindicta can't do that. This is going to be problematic.
Well, the tank's about to finish. If he immediately sieges...
Okay, he's starting to move over there now.
The time it takes to siege,
yeah.
the worm will finish, but I think... Okay, well, the Lings actually could get some...
That is...
He's gonna get onto the Ghost, that's splash damage.
He did not right-click on that Nidus. Okay, now it's going to be going down.
Starts another Nidus immediately, too.
You can kill that Liberator with the Hydras.
Liberator's really cute, actually.
Okay, well, the Hydras...
This was a really good Nidus for Vindicta, because he actually got him to throw away some units in there.
That is definitely true. Gonna reinforce with a bunch more Lings. The Nidus Storm, second Nidus Storm finishes up, but he's not gonna really unload anything there. The Siege Tank should be able to take care of that. Vindicta did manage to establish that top right-hand base once again, but here comes a Ling run by right before the Planetary finishes. But Hellions are gonna be here in time to defend.
Yeah.
Ish. Defend-ish.
He's just kind of getting attacked endlessly until he runs out of money and dies. That's this game in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like, this army just cannot fight head-to-head, especially without any... Like, he's going to get vehicle weapons +1 soon, which will help a lot. Ooh. But now he's basically said, I want to turn this game into Nuke Fest 4.0. And does that one drop? Does he gets a drone? And he
gets a Spore Crawler. And that's going to maybe open up that avenue for that same area later on from another Ghost. Because I think that Silky was able to react to that pretty quickly because he saw the Ghost with the Spore Crawler.
Yes.
All right.
Building armor +2 vehicle weapons.
Got one more nuke already out and finished. The second nuke is being remade. A third Ghost Academy is being added on. And there's that nuke.
All right. I guess this is where we see it. He needs to get the sick nukes. He needs to get a lot of damage done with these. If these do not accomplish a whole lot, he is going to really ride the struggle bus. Good one there, actually.
Yeah.
Gets the spine, gets the spore, gets 7 drones. Should go right at it for another one, right? He's got still a nuke. There we go.
I think also just, you know, the reminder of how frustrating that last series was is probably going to be adding up a little bit.
That's true. The nukes will also buy him an insane amount of time. Is that Banelings coming in on the top side? Yes.
Okay, bye-bye, Planetary.
As an old man once said, so many Banelings.
It wasn't that old.
Oh, look at that. He burrows the Banes.
Oh, it's a missile turret.
There's a turret still in range, but...
Still nice. Did he just EMP the Ghost? Or sorry, the Overlord?
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe I'm seeing things. All right, now we end up seeing a massive flood of Vipers gonna make their way forward, and Nate, that number of Vipers is a problem.
The abducts on the Cyclones actually allow the tanks to get shots off. He doesn't use Blinding Cloud on the Siege tank, so he does bleed out a lot of his Hydralisks.
Yeah.
It starts to look better. The Siege tank count is actually at 12, which I wasn't it's kind of interesting because the tanks have all been staggered really far back, which is the right way to do this, but you don't generally see a ton of tanks. I actually really like that Vindicta's kind of gotten a whiff of this. I didn't like the way that he was setting himself up earlier because it seemed like he was focusing too much on airplay that he wasn't actually doing in any real way. He left the tanks in his main, so that Nidus does nothing.
Yeah.
But with that many tanks staggered so far back, he does have a solid anchor point. Just weird that he went for such fast 3-3. I'm like, I want to see battle cruisers now.
I know.
There's
I feel like it would, similar to the nukes, would be a frustration point for Silky, who lost to it in that last series, so just be a reminder. And if you lose to it twice like that and you see the second time coming, that will put you on tilt for game 2.
Yeah, yes, it will. So 14 Banelands being added. He's getting +2 Flyer Carapace, by the way, so he's going to be fantastic in upgrades for dealing with anything that Vindicta throws his way. +3 melee coming in. Liberator dies. When you leave a command center floating like that, Hydralisks love to say, well met. Come get him. And the Banelings are just going to happily crash into everything. The ghosts do not have the speed to get away. But he does fall back to the planetary. He makes it there in time. However, command center right-clicked and ba-boom. Another nuke is coming in on ZvT Expansion.
No Spore Crawler over there either, so this is a bit of a problem. Silky, he's either pulling a knee or he
realize it. 5 drones, an Overlord. Not bad. And he also canceled 3 drones that were being built. Or three sets of things.
Oh, tried to snipe a Viper.
That would have made it. That would have made it so worth if he had gotten that Viper. Good God.
Is it 1 snipe to kill a Viper?
Yes.
Does he have another? Oh, I think he has hold positioning that Ghost. Right?
Snipes 170 or 170. Yeah, it's 170 damage, and Vipers have 150 health.
If you had a Ghost that was directly underneath all the Vipers, would you try and sneak it past for the nuke, or would you just go for the EMP on the Vipers? Because they're gonna just regen
the nuke. Viper energy is kind of like free and infinite.
It just delays them a little bit.
If you're not literally mid-fight or about to attack, the Vipers will get the energy back quickly. So I'd rather YOLO the nuke because you don't have protection, right?
Okay, Silky is actually busy retreating back. I don't think he noticed that nuke that's going to be coming down, and this is that exact angle that the Spore Crawler got killed earlier.
It just takes a couple of those nukes doing what they are intended to do for this to be so worth every other nuke that was dropped.
Okay, he has an Overseer there. He should be able to spot out that Ghost.
But he's looking for the other one. That's the problem. Yeah. Like he's got so much.
No, he pulled the drones away. He pulled the drones away.
Okay, getting 3 spines actually would not be bad. Yeah, no, that's actually good. And he gets a drone that just finished building and clears the larva.
He might even kill the Overseer there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Lings are going to be able to finish it up. But Planetary Fortress, blinding clouded. You can see how hard it is for him to focus it down, though. The Hydras take a little while to kill it.
Gets a lot of
eventually. Yeah, he has to use another blinding cloud, but this buys a lot of time because of that building armor. And that's something that Vindicta's really been focusing on. Now the Hellions come in from behind, and the Hydralisks with no support crumble against this. Vindicta, I was really worried for him because some of those attacks early on when he got both the expansions knocked out on the north and the south side, I was very concerned. But somehow, the absolute madman does it again in his nuke spam. Has bought him another great position in a match here. And Silky's got no bank for minerals, at least.
Yeah, he's got plenty of gas, but that's not what he's really needing.
He's not geared. Yeah, he's not geared to go into infestors right now, which is part of the problem. And with this army composition and these units, he's really riding the struggle bus.
Oh God, he's supply blocked.
Yeah, I don't know what he does against this. He lost a ton of Overlords.
He's losing a lot right now, and also at the same time, Vindicta was able to reestablish the top right base.
The YOLO zoning nuke. He's just basically saying, come to my army.
And Silky backs off. He can't engage that, so that means that his bottom bases are actually a lot more vulnerable. There are some units over here kind of awkwardly trading. I don't think Vindicta meant to do that. That might have been a little bit of a mistake, but he is still zoning out and snipes off one of the bases. He's going for a nuke on this base, which does get picked off in time.
Yeah, that Overseer in deployed mode can still see him.
But still, that's 2 bases that Vindicta just got to snipe off there.
Snipe the Viper!
Snipe the Viper!
Oh. Meh. Maybe if it was like back in the day when EMP actually cleared all energy, it would be more worth it, but...
Back in the day in Wings of Liberty?
Back in the day.
Early Wings of Liberty, not even later. think it was Wings of Liberty that nerf came in, right? Where it's only 100 energy?
Yeah. That was like after Kadarian Amulet was like gone. So like, also EMP had like the sickest radius of all time. It used to be like twice as big.
I am very worried for Silky right now, because not only is he down in general supply, but he's also up in workers and he's worried himself. GG.
The nukes. He had a really good position where I thought he could have gotten a lot done, because there was like this focus on air upgrades and a bunch of liberators, but they were all really spread out. And the liberator harass also did not really do anything this game. Like the spores were well positioned, and I'm like, how did he do that with so little? But as soon as he got the nukes out, like Silky was very hesitant to attack him. And then as soon as the nukes started to drop, Silky spent the rest of the game on his own side of the map trying to defend.
And Silky's also defense on the offense there. He kept trying to attack him, and we would see him go into like a choke point, and we'd just be like, nope, Silky, get out of there. That's not the fight you want to take.
It's weird because the tanks weren't really at the peripheral bases. The tanks were kind of centered around that third that he had on the high ground by the natural. The natural itself, and then
some of the main for the Nidus.
Yeah, exactly. So he had all those tanks, but he wasn't really moving them out, and he just beat him to death with nukes.
Yeah.
There you have it.
It's going to be a bit of a frustration, I think, given how the last series went, and we'll see if Silky can adjust and come up with some sort of answer for this. It's either that, or you got to end the game before he gets there.
I think we could see Silky go for something aggressive, but
yeah,
would you do it when you're down 0-1 in a best of 3 that decides whether you make it to the round of 8?
I think that's when you do it.
Maybe Cyril would. I feel like people always get nervous. I think this is when Vindicta cheeses, by the way. This would be the best possible time. If you're Silky, the way that you have lost to Vindicta is so... I would be so tilted at that, where it's like, oh yeah, I did everything, got like great harass. This guy's expanding like crazy. You know, south base killed, north base killed, gets great abducts, picks off like all the cyclones multiple
times. Had a bigger bank and everything, yeah.
Way bigger bank, has the whole map covered, denied the Liberator range, harassed, wasn't dealing with it like he was in the other games. And then he's like, then the nukes just start to come in, and he's like, oh my god, if I do not spend all my APM running my drones away from my own bases, I will lose this game because I won't be able to reinforce.
Yeah.
And that ended up happening anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Roddy and I were talking about. StarCraft is not always a game about waiting for your opponent to make mistakes or to just try and punish your opponent at like random opportunities with strategy. Sometimes it is just about forcing out mistakes by bringing their attention everywhere. It's just multitasking. That is a huge component of StarCraft, and nukes are really good at forcing out some multitasking.
Nukes get better the longer the game goes on. Just being able to take advantage of the fact that a dude's got to look at 6 different bases, inject all those hatcheries, micro their army, spread creep, try to get overseers around for Niduses. And then, oh wait, you're telling me that at 2 places, I'm about to take upwards of 500 damage
I'm looking for a little red dot at somewhere on the map. I don't know where.
That's why nukes were bad back in the day, man. It wasn't because it took 20 seconds, because the maps were so small.
That is a fair point. Although the screen size was also much smaller back in Brood War.
The nuke is one of the only units left in StarCraft that has never been touched by a patch Fear Dragon. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel? Almost every single unit's been touched in some way by a patch, whether it's an ability that's been adjusted.
Indirectly touched. Because they've changed things like Ultralisk health and stuff, or Colossus health, so units that didn't survive before survive.
Actually, neither of those units had health changes. The carrier, maybe.
Long time ago.
If you count the beta, I guess.
Yeah, of course I count the beta. You remember the King of the Beta tournament?
Was the Ultra's health buff in the beta, or was it like one of the first patches of Wings?
I don't remember, but if anyone ever wants to cry, go Google the Happy Ultralisk. It is one of the most amazingly well-written Team Liquid threads.
Do you remember when the Ultralisk's splash damage was based off of the target and not the Ultralisk's attack itself?
Yeah.
You had a planetary fortress fully surrounded by SCVs, and if the Ultra attacked it from one spot, every SCV around the planetary took damage.
I really enjoyed that period of time.
Those were the battle days.
Those are the Battle.net days.
Battlecruiser used to do damage too.
Battle.net days.
Battlecruiser used to do damage as well. It was like, there was not really ever an explanation given for the nerf because no one ever built one, but they're like, 12 damage versus ground and 10 versus air? No, this is terrible.
All right, could be scouting SCV being taken out by a decent number of Lings over here. And I do want to note this was a pool first here from Silky. Also get up that gas geyser, eventually getting up the hatchery. He's going to send these Lings around the long way to try and avoid the Reaper. But that Reaper's actually just going to be staying at home because the SCV scouted out the Lings and said, no, not letting you snipe this off.
Shout out to the SCV scout.
Every single TVZ today. Every single TVZ.
It's what you should be doing. I call it out like it's cool, but that's only because even in Korean StarCraft in the last like 2 months, I'd say, there's been a huge upward spike of SCV scouting in TVZ. Although, of course, we only get to see so many of them because most of them get... Yeah, we don't need to go into it, but it hasn't been a lot of TVZ that's been happening at the highest level lately.
All right, well, the SCV gets sniped off. It delays the command center a little bit, makes up a tiny bit for how this opening went for Silky, which was not the super ideal opening, but still makes something of it. And wow, that fast third CC.
Yep, I like it. Silky hasn't cheesed at all. He hasn't been showing anything that would indicate he was going to all-in him. And if he was, like, the rule of thumb in Terran versus Zerg is if you think your opponent's going to Baneling bust you, yeah, you can get a bunker. If you want to try to tank, you can. But good Hellion control and a responsive micro is always going to be enough, like in a really early game situation, because both of you are broke and Hellions have like the ability to generate stupid value out of their area of effect attack. But yeah, we haven't really seen roaches today. Roaches have not been a thing. We had some Ravagers in that Ravager Hydra Bane from Serral, but even he was just like, no. He made a Roach Horn to build Ravagers.
Yeah, I think there was like a PVZ where we saw a few Roaches or something. That's about the entirety of it.
Yeah, and with that meta, Roaches aren't exactly popular either, mortals, so.
All right, well, we got our starport on the way. Stim is also getting started on up, so Vindicta is just settling in for the longer-term game. And also he's got something in the main base. I think the Reaper maybe got picked off or something. Got some scouting information, just catching an eye whether or not Silky was still mining on gas. If he was, well, at this point,
or if there was a fast lair or a fast Roach Horn. You want to know, right?
Yeah.
So this game, we are not going to be seeing the mechanical memes. We've got 4 barracks on the way. Stim is halfway done. Starport is complete. Hellions are poking, but not too much happening there. This pretty reasonably quick upgrades from Silky. It's going to be nice if he doesn't get caught off guard by the first attack. The medevacs are going to be starting as Vindicta can afford them. Yep, third CC's just sitting in the main base, making a few SCVs with it, but not doing anything super crazy. There is not a Baneling nest yet. So even though, well, there's also not a lair. So it's like really fast upgrades, slightly late lair. Baneling nest is going to be late depending on the timing of this attack because it shouldn't be too far away. Like he's not going to have a crazy amount of Marines based on the opening that he went for.
You can't even fill up the medevacs.
Yeah, his barracks are all making add-ons.
I think Silky has time.
Okay.
I think actually, depending on how on point Vindicta is about this move outs, he may even have time to finish up 1-1.
Yeah, that's the big thing I was thinking about. In my mind, I could see a small window where 1-1 was just about to finish, and this Stim Marine attack hits with 2 medevacs. Like 16 Marines could do a lot. Yeah. His Baneling Nest isn't ready yet, and obviously he wouldn't have had Baneling speed.
Oh, that's not a full wall. Well, at least it gets revealed now and not with like 30 links.
They were back in the day when like every ramp was designed that you could put 2 depots in a bunker and then 2 depots.
Do you remember back in the day when buildings in Brood War had different sizes, and if you had 2 pylons next to each other, it meant that Lings and SCVs and probes and stuff could get through, but vultures couldn't?
Well, how else am I supposed to play cat and mouse?
Oh, that was
the only way to play cat and mouse. Is you'd have to make the 4 pylons, you hide until the cat walks away, and then you move out and try to take the cheese.
When I tried to play PvZ in Brood War, I just gave up, and I looked at the largest building on every single side, and it was the forge. So I just make like a 4 forge wall.
You just wall off your main and go for carriers, man. Were you good or something?
Oh god, no. No, I tried cannon rushing most of the time.
Yeah, that's also fine.
Oh, this Marine drop is really not getting a whole lot
Yeah, by the
done.
way, everything came a little bit late, right?
Yeah.
So you have 1-1 Ling Bane. Forget about it. Vindicta's not getting anything done here for a little while.
But of course, Silky did, of course, have to delay his lair tech to try and get up all that stuff.
Look how fast those rocks die with +1 Fear Dragon. Wow.
It's like +1 weapons really helps against units with armor.
Yeah.
The lair finishing on up, that also means that Baneling speed is going to be finishing up, or starting up, I should say. But the push is nearly at the front door of Silky. He didn't actually spread that much creep on the north side. Really nice identification here from Vindicta to attack from this angle where it would be the fastest to get into the base without really going too far onto creep.
He hasn't even started 1-1. He doesn't have engineering base. Oh my god.
Well, the Banelings don't have speed right now, and
he's got a lot of units.
Problematic.
So he's just going to try and kill him with like a parade push of swords.
Oh, the flank from the Banelings from the backside, but it's a little bit mistimed. It's still enough. He's going to be able to clean up so many of these Marines.
He's just trying to drown him in the blood of Marines because he's not going for upgrades. Like, if this game continues on, Silky's going to have 2-2 versus 0-0 Marines, and the Marines are going to be worthless. But with the tanks that he's got anchored behind, I still don't know. Like, Vindicta, Silky's going to get another wave of units out, and as soon as he knocks this off of him, yeah, no, he's adding 2 more barracks. What? Am I blind? He really doesn't have any engineering base.
That third CC really threw me off. I really believe Vindicta was transitioning from that.
You know,
but this is it.
If anybody's ever told you that you were all in past like 1 or 2 bases, and you're like, how can you be all in with a third? This is how.
The Banelings plus the siege tank friendly fire actually just killed like 10 Marines there. And now the Hydras are even out. So the medevacs, I mean, they're going to be able to stay alive for a while. But
so the reason why this push is still doing a lot is because he can afford more units since he's not spending anything. He didn't spend money on engineering base. He didn't spend money on 1-1. He's not going to spend money on an armory.
If Silky finishes up 2-2, these Marines are going to look pathetic.
Zerglings are going to slaughter him. He's already having a hard time dealing with the Lings, and like even just those Banelings, right? You're trying to focus fire those down. He needs to kill this lair soon.
It's also harder because the lair has more hit points as well. But here we go. Hydra's going to be able to take care of the Liberator, the siege tanks. I mean, they're getting some good damage done, but now the Hydra's going to be able to get close enough to start taking those out as well. Ling's also making their way forward. That's 2 siege tanks down, 1 remaining, and Silky is seconds away from finishing up 2-2.
I can't remember the last time I saw 2-2 Lings versus unupgraded Marines. The Hydras have 1 armor by default too, by the way, so the +2 is going to make them and the Queens.
Silky is starting to run drier on units, but these next rounds of Lings are coming forward. Lings, they have 2-2 now, and here we go. You're just going to see that they don't really die nearly as fast anymore.
Yeah, missing out on, this could still work. He's starting to gain a little bit of momentum in supply.
Starting up another layer.
But Silky doesn't need the same massive units that he would normally need in an even upgraded
Silky
game.
has a 5th base, for context, guys. He is okay with losing that base.
Yes. And he doesn't need any other tech to deal with this if he can just get enough Ling Bane out, because it's a very chomky force. Now it's 2-2 versus 0-0. So the Marines, instead of doing 6 damage per hit, they're doing 4 versus the Lings, and they're doing 3 versus the Hydras and Queens.
This position gets really rough, though, because now half the reinforcements will be coming through the main and the natural, which is up that ramp, so he's going to try and break this position right here.
It might work. Tank. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the 2-2 Zerg can't do it. GG, good luck comes out of Silky, and Vindicta advances in what I will say is a hell of an upset here for Group C. Very well done by our Terran player. I can't believe we just saw that.
Congratulations to Vindicta. I mean, Vindicta has been looking better and better, especially in his TVZ. We got to see a lot of his late game play, and even in that game, I mean, a pretty different style than I'm used to seeing these days, where it's the parade push off of just the 3 bases with no upgrades.
I really would love, I hope that he like tweets or posts about this somewhere. I would love to pick his brain as to, I would love to know how many times he has practiced that, like hidden somewhere, because that is so outside the realm of anything that you would normally see. Really fast third base, 5 racks super fast with the 7. He went to like 7 racks by the end of there. He's churning out like 9+ Marines per round, and he doesn't have any E-bays. Like every single resource has to have been accounted for in that build to say that I'm not going to build E-bays, and I know that I'll be able to parade push kill you with pretty much just Marines and a couple of the tanks that were behind. That was so sick. I've not seen a Terran do a build like that that seems so deliberate, because he didn't take early damage. It's not like he had E-bays that were destroyed. This was very deliberately decided by him that he was going to do it this way, And I find that fascinating. And he's able to advance out of the group because of that. Really cool. Really cool to see. Very gutsy. That's one of those builds, like, if that doesn't work, people are just laughing at you. Like, why would you do that? Why would you think that you could kill a Zerg with 2/2 when you have nothing? But he defies expectations in the rules of StarCraft.
Yeah, really well done. And actually, to your point about the whole, like, I hope that he was preparing this and everything, I think there's a really good chance he did, because you have to remember that most people looked at this group and they said it's probably going to come down to the decider match of Silky versus Vindicta. No offense to Crucial Nug. He actually showed some really cool games and stuff, but a lot of people were just expecting that's the way it's going to be. So I even expect that Vindicta walked in that first series versus Silky and I was like, well, should I really show all of my stuff? Sure, I might have to play an extra match versus Crucial Nug where I could be eliminated, but more likely than not, I'm going to have to free face Silky again. I don't want to show all of my cards. So I think that's a really cool thing.
Extremely well done. I'm super proud of Vindicta. I think he brought out such a ridiculous range of builds, but he didn't go for nukes in that last game. That's just
bad for branding.
Congratulations to him. He advances with Neeb out of Group C into the round of 8 for WCS Challenger Americas. And I think we're going to take a look at the standings of this group again really soon. What an interesting day.
Yeah, really interesting day. Now, I am a little bit sad for my boy Silky. I know he's been busy with his work and stuff lately, so hopefully we'll see more of him as things start to settle down and he gets into the groove and figures out how do you play StarCraft at a top competitive level like Jon Snow when you're still working. But Neeb and Vindicta coming out from NA is a really fun result.
So sick. Very well done. We talked a lot about a lot of the Terran players that have been fighting their way into WCS NA, and to see one of these underdogs kind of build their own story.
Of players.
Yeah, we have a lot of like because North America, the region's not as strong, but it could have been, right? We could have had some surprise Zergs or surprise Protosses maybe sneak their way in, but it was Terrans, and seeing Vindicta make another WCS appearance, but actually make it to the round of 8 this time is really cool. So big congratulations to him, and of course congratulations to Neeb. Neeb, we expect you to finish in the top 2, okay? So I'm not going to give you too many compliments.
I think this is going to be a fun WCS NA, though, because, I mean, if you look at some of the names that we have this season, even like for tomorrow's NA group, I am so hype about. Not because I think it's actually necessarily going to be all super close games, but just the names. There's so much weight behind each of them in terms of history. It's going to be Scarlet, Future, Puck, and Semper. Like, that's just a sick group of top names. Yeah. I love tomorrow's group.
Really awesome games today, and we'll be having more awesome games tomorrow. And of course, shout out to our awesome observer, Awesome Sauce. That does it for our first day here this weekend of WCS Challenger. We'll be live again tomorrow, starting with Europe Group D at 7 a.m. Pacific time. That's 10 a.m. Eastern time, and I believe 3 p.m. CET. If I'm wrong, it's fine. Go yell at me on Twitter. I don't care. We will see you guys tomorrow bright and early for Group D as we finish the round of 16 for WCS Challenger.